My man,
Hey,
Brennan, what's up, dude?
not much, man. Just got home a little bit ago.
Nice, nice. Glad to have you on. We're excited. This is episode number 2 of 10-Minute Tales. You know, we started this earlier this week as an extension of the Live Beyond Average podcast, which we probably should have had you on at this point on that anyway. So I'm stoked we can have you on this as well. So for people who don't know, this is an opportunity for just followers, friends, fans of Run to Gun to get on our platform and tell their hunting stories. You guys have had to hear mine for the last 8 years, and I want to hear more of your guys's. So, Brennan, take us off today on one of your most fond hunting stories, adventures that you've been on.
So I was kind of waffling back and forth which one I was going to tell. I got a couple good ones, but with elk draws coming up, I figured I'd tell an elk story. So I was very lucky at the age of 14 and drew my Custer State Park elk tag. And so that would have been 2002. I sent in with one of my best friends back home. He was 16, I was 14. So I if there's anyone watching that's drawn this tag, they don't just mail these tags out. You have to show up in the park, go to a meeting, and they hand out the tags. And boy, that was a nerve-wracking feeling being that young, because I mean, there's guys with walkers in there, and it's right now there's what, 8 tags available in the whole park or something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, we couldn't believe it. I mean, we this was back before they had their website where you could get on and check, like the draw results weren't as easily accessible. You got an email, and we got an email saying that we but we got a letter in the mail saying that we didn't. So we called in. They're like, "No, you drew." So we got ready, and for myself and my buddy Tyler and both of our dads, we knew nothing about elk hunting. And none of us had gone except for Scott, Tyler's dad. So we get out there and we go to this meeting, and they call our names to go pick our tags up, and we go walking up there, and I mean, there is some grumble. Most people are kind of just giving us crap, but there's some people that were just legit mad that we were that young and drew. Yeah, it was something, man. And we get in there, opening morning, and we really don't have much of a plan. We're just gonna walk around. Hopefully, we hear something, check
Yeah.
some spots out, and maybe stumble on an elk. And I remember the first morning we were walking in, and we come around this big rock face, and it kind of dumps down into a big meadow. And I don't remember what part of the park we were in, to be honest with you, but we had our lights out, flashlights out, and we come across a dead whitetail 4x4. I mean, fresh, like steam rolling off of it, legs still limber, and we
Wow.
didn't think anything of this. And this was like right at the start of like the whole mountain lion thing in the hills. And so we kept walking in, and we didn't see anything. Heard one bugle way off, but we were in no position to take off after it at the time. So we walked back out, and we called the game warden just to tell him about that deer. And he came. He's like, "Yeah, this is telltale mountain lion. I mean, you could see the claw marks down the side, and probably pushed this thing off its kill."
Yeah.
So that was a little nerve wracking. That's when we first kind of learned about the mountain lion, a bit. But
You're 14.
yeah, age 14. Yeah, no kidding. Um, so yeah, we didn't have much luck the first couple days, and we found a really good meadow. And that night we went there and we heard bugling, and we walked back in. I think there's like a Boy Scout camp in there, I want to say, and
Yep.
they have a truck wagon set
Yep.
up time. And we walked past that, up that draw, and I mean, they were going nuts up there, and nothing came down in the meadow. So my buddy Tyler and his dad, that next night they went there, and Tyler ended up shooting his bull, and thing was screaming, came off the top of the ridge down, and they watched him wallow for I don't
Nah.
know, 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
got him when he stood up. And it was a nice bull, 320 ish probably.
Heck of a boy. Yeah.
And so I'm getting a little discouraged because I haven't even seen anything to shoot at, and we're running out of time. And being 14, I'm out of school, and I
Yeah.
off. And last day we were there, I remember we were driving down that wildlife loop road, and in the dark, and we had the windows down, and we heard a bugle, and we just stopped and walked off and sat there until light. And you could see across the draw there's a bull with probably, I don't know, 8, 9 cows and a couple satellite bulls with him. And he's 280. We thought a 6x6. Turned out he was a 6x5.
Okay.
300 yards. I remember my dad ranging him. He had the big suckers, the rangefinders that are that big. And he ranged 300 yards, and I was shooting a 25-06, which we both were at the time, which a lot of people think is pretty small, but it did the job. I leveled on right behind the front shoulder and squeezed one off and just dumped him at 300 yards. And
Awesome.
yeah, and so we got him out of there. And when you shoot a bull in the park, you have to check him in before you leave.
Yep.
And called up the warden to check in, and he's like I can't believe this. He's like 16 and a 14-year-old shot 2 of the better bulls in the park this year. He's like, I've already checked in probably 10 of them and nothing like these. So
Awesome.
So yeah, it was I wish I remembered more, because at age 14 I didn't realize what I had.
Right.
Looking back, 15, 16 years later, it's like, man, I wish I was a little older to respect it a little more, but still, even for it being that long ago, I remember everything about it.
That is awesome. So I've known you for a lot of years. I didn't know you drew that hunt.
Yep.
So for people listening that don't understand how difficult this tag is to draw, my dad has 34, 35. I think this is his 35th year applying for that hunt. He's in the top 8 or 12 point holders in the state. And so when you say you walked in, and it doesn't bother him one bit, but there's a lot of guys you read on any South Dakota forums, a lot of guys get upset that they have 20 years Black Hills points, or 30 25 years Custer State Park points. It bothers them a lot. And so for you to be 14 walking in that room with all the other tag holders most likely being double or triple or quadruple your age, people need to understand that this is a next to impossible hunt to draw. You run the stats on even 34 points, your odds are still in the thousandths of a percent to draw, because there's so many people who apply. It's nuts. So I didn't know you drew that. That is epic, dude.
I tend to tell people, but I wait for a while, because it's one of those things telling people now. I get a lot of crap for that, but
for sure.
I think it's pretty cool to get that lucky. But yeah, talking the draw odds, I work out of the GFP office in Peary, and I talked to our guy that does the tag drawings, and he said 8 tags, and I think he said 9,000 applicants.
Yep.
So
yep. That's the thing is I have 15 years for that hunt right now, and I run I did some rough stats between that and my dad on 35 years, 34 years, and there's still hardly any advantage to him having 34 compared to me having 15, or to somebody having 3. You know what I mean? There's so many people that your odds are so slim that it's I have a 0.008 chance and he has a 0.004 chance of drawing. It's so minuscule. So it's truly one of the toughest hunts to draw in the entire country.
Yep.
It's pretty. So, so that being said, before we wrap up, have you drawn your Black Hills bull tag yet then, out of the park?
I drew that in 2012, and I didn't fill it. That actually kind of kicked me into this whole getting in shape, hitting the gym, and because I was a big guy then, and I couldn't go up and down the hills like I wanted to, and I missed 3 or 4 opportunities because I couldn't find them in my scope because I was breathing too heavy or just didn't get there in time. So
that experience kind of is what triggered you to start living that healthier lifestyle, focusing on working out. That's cool.
Absolutely.
That is awesome, man. Well, and hopefully some people hear a little bit of this too, hear the short 10-minute tale, and that's what triggers them to be okay, I don't want to miss out on my opportunity, because that right now is a very hard tag to draw as well. And any South knows that.
Yeah, I can't apply until next year, and then it'll take me at least 10 years, so it's.
Yeah, and most likely upwards of 20. 10 is where you kind of start getting, that little better opportunity. And then now there's still guys with 20 plus trying to draw H2, so it's a crazy thing, but all you can do is put in and hope you get lucky early,
Yep.
So, Well, Brendan, thanks so much for jumping on and telling your story. I guarantee you, I'm not probably going to have anybody else on that's going to be telling a Custer State Park, South Dakota bull elk story. So that's pretty epic, man. I really appreciate you sharing that. And let's, when you're in my neck of the woods, let's get you down here in the podcast room and let's do a podcast together.
All right, sounds good, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
See ya.